Hey, what's up, Mythgardians? Cool Cat here with another Mythgard deck, and today we're going to be going back to an old favorite. With the new patch, we have some slight tweaks to this deck. It's going to be yellow-orange. It's more of a mid-range style than the control that I had previously covered. That you can get some pretty quick lethals with the right draws, but it also gives you plenty of gas to close out those longer games as well. So as always, we're going to go ahead and hop into the deck list. We'll go over a couple of replays with a short conclusion at the end. Alright, so into the deck list, we'll go over the path and the power. For the path, we're going to change it up a little bit compared to the other one. We're going with Fires of Creation. We are running a good amount of artifacts, and the benefit of fires in this deck, we're not really looking to play our forgelings. So what they do is they'll give us something to burn so that we can keep our actual cards in hand so that we're not burning real cards for mana. Typically you won't really be playing the forgelings outside of the free forgeling on the pursuit, or if you do end up getting to the bigger 5/5 or 6/6 forgelings, those are generally pretty good to play as well. And then for the power, we are going to have Mend. You can get a lot of really good value out of this power in this deck. A lot of our minions have a lot of health, and we're running a few buffs as well to keep them healthy. So being able to get those value trades over and over again while your minion lives another turn so that the opponent has to answer it gives you a lot of power in this deck. And for the deck list itself, it is going to be yellow-orange, but I did decide to splash in about 6 or so green cards here. So just to cover those really quick, we have 4 of the Matryoshka, which is just a pretty strong a pretty strong artifact, letting you get some buffs on some guys to either get more of those value trades or to hit face a little bit harder. And then I have 2 of the Hacker's Intuition. This is a recently buffed card. This used to cost 2 mana, but with this inclusion, it lets you swing face with a lot of your bigger drops like your Sapos, your Kushiel, your Armageddon Angel, your bigger Forgelings, or your Twins, or even just some buffed up guys to really get that last bit of face damage in. And for the yellow cards, I'm running Clay Effigy. I'm running this over the Maze of Iatiku because this allows you to attack. So coupled with things like your Matryoshkas or your Olama Rings, or even your Pack Mentality here, that can make that 0/1 statue into quite the threat. But moving forward with the next card, it is Pack Mentality. This is actually a really strong card in this deck. This was also buffed to just cost 1 yellow gem as opposed to 2, and so it's a lot easier to fit into your plays because yellow tends to be a very gem-heavy color. But with all of the tokens in this deck, with your Eager Recruits, your Clay Effigies, and your just lower cost minions like even the Desertification Engine, your Ifrits, it really lets you group up some minions and make one really big guy. You can even swing it face with the Hacker's Intuition. And then we're running 3 of the Meso Libre. It's just really strong 3-drop. We're not running Turn of Seasons here, so you're not going to have to worry about the winter on curve with this guy. Then that 3 health is going to be extremely important in this meta, since the Wyvern was nerfed to no longer have Rush. So that 3 health is going to be a very safe amount of health to play on curve because there's no longer any 3 attack Rush minions. We are running the Orbital Jamming Satellite. This is more of just a yellow gem. Typically, you're not really going to be playing this too often, but it does come in handy in some situations. And then we have 2 of the Wonder Drug. This is really good anti-aggro. You can get raced down by things like Valks. You generally have a really good matchup into like red-blue rush or red-orange aggro, but Valks tends to be a little bit more difficult because their minions tend to have a little higher health, so they can break through your blockers and keep on chugging along. And then I am running the Model of Duality. Again, with all of your tokens in the deck, it's really easy to get this to trigger turn after turn to keep your card advantage up. And then the Olama Ring, again, a lot of tokens. We have a lot of board flood, so this turns out to be very strong in this list. We are running 2 of the Misanthropia, just a really good board clear, probably the best board clear in the game. See, we are also running dual twins, both of the twins, some more board flood. These things get really threatening with an Olama Ring out, or with 2 Olama Rings out, and it also triggers your Model of Duality as well. So if you have that out, you'll draw a card. And then we are also running Sapo. It's pretty much one of the best single target removals in the game. And then it also leaves behind a very threatening body for things like Matryoshka, Hacker's Intuition to swing right at their face. And then, of course, in orange, we're going to be running Eager Recruit. I want to say it's still the best 1-drop in the game right now, possibly slightly better than Strigoi Pup because of the recent red nerfs, and just pushing orange to be a better color. And then we're also running Lamp of Wonders. This is a really good card to play on curve. It'll give you the Forgeling, and it also lets you Divination to fix your colors if you need to, or to draw the next card that you would like to pick up. And then we're running Desertification Engine. This is a really defensively statted 3-drop to help us with a lot of the aggro matchups. Then we have 2 of the Serendipity Efreets, just a very strongly statted body that, with coupled with some buffs from Olama Ring, Matryoshka, or Pack Mentality, can end up doing a lot of damage over some turns. And then we're running 2 of the Parry at the Gates. Oh, 2 of the Parry at the Gates. There we go. This is just the best card draw in the game. A 2/2 body, draw 2, and you also get to Divination before you draw that second card. Extremely strong. We're running Scion of Pride. This is another great single target removal type minion, and you can also buff your tokens up as well to a 4/4 in some niche situations. And then over Seal of Exile, I am running 2 Temptations. With all of the aggro and all of the buffs going around Temptation, I think it's just going to be a better option over the Seal. Especially in this deck, it lets you swing to get some more face damage. Like I said, this is a quicker deck than the other version. You're able to get a lot faster lethals on this one, and the Temptation will help you close those games out that much faster using your opponent's own buffed minions. Then I'm also running a Kushiel, just a standard big bomb style card, and then Armageddon Angel, a really great board clear when coupled with Hacker's Intuition, lets you swing at face really easily. And then the Herald of Pestilence is the really great defensively statted drop that will also clear a lot of health and attack off of the opponent's board with its Blight effect. So that is the general deck overview there, so let's go ahead and hop into some replays. Alright, and in this first match, we are going up against Silver Arrow, a champion level player. He is playing some blue-orange. So we actually do start off with a pretty strong draw. We have plenty of plays to make. Turn 1, we can drop the Eager Recruit. Turn 2, we can drop the Clay Effigy. So we'll go ahead and contest their recruit with our own so that they aren't able to get much value out of their 1-drops. We will definitely win the value game 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10 against something like blue-orange or one of the quicker mid-range or aggro decks. So we top deck a second Pack Mentality. We'll go ahead and burn that, and we'll just go play a couple of tokens here. That Parser Recruit trades very well into that Sand Devil, so we have a really good trade right there. And with that Misanthropia draw, that pretty much seals the deal for us. They drop the Ifrit, and we top deck another Meso Libre. We'll go ahead and burn off our Pack Mentality because we played most of our tokens, so we probably won't be getting much use out of that. I go ahead and pop over my statue because when it is in lane 5 right here, it has a lot more access to the open lanes. For example, if they were to play something right here in lane 3, I can pop it over right there so they're not able to get any damage through. If they play something here in lane 7, I can pop it right back over here. So this just gives me much better blocking opportunities as opposed to just being right here, leaving both of these lanes open. So they're going to play their parry over to the right. So what I'll do, I'll go ahead and pop over my statue to chump block the parry, and then I'm going to drop my own parry to double contest this Ifrit. I'm not going to swing into it quite yet. I'm going to let them do all of the trading and things. But they do punish me for that, and they drop the thunderclap, which is kind of painful. And so it looks like this is a really good time for me to drop my Misanthropia. They only have 3 cards in hand, and that clears their entire board and lets me set up for a lot of the stronger minions in my deck. So they will drop their Ifrit and their Dune Cat, so we will use this opportunity to get some good blocks in with our twins. I'm kind of holding on to this Matryoshka in case I draw another green gem so that I can play it out, which even if I don't, I'm still in a really good position. They get the trade on the twin, they knock the other twin down to 2, and they try to contest it with the Eager Recruit, which this is usually going to be a really great time for me to use my mend power to get a good value trade-off, but I just decided that it's probably better to just drop the bigger minion here to really, make this guy pretty scared of what I'm capable of, and just keep dropping bomb after bomb to make sure that they don't have any answers. But they will go ahead and Pride of Place that Lion, which this top deck is extremely strong here, getting a really quick 2-for-1 trade, and then letting me push 5 damage face. And with this Blackened Jotun drop, that gives me a really, really good lethal with the Temptations. All I have to do is kill off my Lion, Temptation the Jotun, swing it all to his face, and he is out of here. A really quick turn 7 lethal. Turn 8 lethal, I apologize. I guess it would be turn 9. A really quick turn 9 lethal for the Fires of Creation deck. Really showing the strength and the power that this deck can provide. In this match, we are up against Stormbrave Tail, who is playing a pretty popular deck right now. It's going to be red-blue mid-range. It's a little bit slower than your typical red-blue, opting to run things like 7-Ring Ritual, but it can still definitely get the job done pretty quickly. So we are a little scared right now. We don't have too much of an early game. We do have some really great 3-drops, which thankfully they missed their 1-drop, so that really sets us up really nicely to just start contesting things on turn 3. And with the drop of the Vulcan Brand, that gives us a great opportunity to do some quick chumping with our Clay Effigy, and we'll go ahead and also just get a good trade block with the Recruit. So they decide to do a little bit of a defensive maneuver there with the Vulcan Brand and move it over as opposed to getting the value out of it. And with the Olama Ring top deck, that lets us trade 1-for-1 with the Thane and our Recruit. And then we'll just go ahead and keep on blocking that Vulcan Brand. And they get the Panic Raider down to take out the statue, which is a pretty great trade for me. That was a 3-drop for a token, which wasn't even very much value on my end. I already got the card draw, so that's just a little bit better. I am going to drop the Forgeling here because they are going to be getting a lot of face damage in, and I want to keep my Olama Ring nice and healthy. They'll go ahead and drop the Magnus, which will give them a great trade on the Ifrit. So I will drop my Herald of Pestilence there to try to contest that Magnus and letting it blight down turn after turn. The Frecky Huntress here is a little bit of a problematic drop from them. So I'll go ahead and pull up my Matryoshka, throw that onto my Herald so that I can get a little bit more value out of the trade. because the way the buff works is that you use the buffed health before you use the minion's actual health, so that kind of just healed my guy for 1. As opposed to taking the 2 damage it normally would have taken, it only took 1 damage. So I'm just going to go ahead and get my damage in really quickly and drop a Misanthropia. There's not too much that I could do here to contest that agile lifelink. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop my token over there to contest the 1/1 instead of the 4/4. So they'll drop their Frecky Huntress, which makes for a really strong trade from a Metroishka 2/2. Very easy to take care of that really quickly. I'll get a little bit of damage into their face. I'll drop my Forgeling here, which is a little bit stronger than it normally would be at a 5/5 thanks to my Olama Ring. They do bounce it, which is unfortunate because when it is bounced, it doesn't heal your artifacts. So I'll get the Hacker's Intuition here. I noticed they left 2 mana open, so I'll take my ends where I can get them. And then I'll just start to flood the board with some tokens, heal up with my Mend power. I'll go ahead and get in some damage with a Frenzied Trapezist, which is a little problematic here, but that top deck is very key. It'll let me play a couple of very strong minions, especially with the Olama Ring out. Get some really good blockers with Overrun, and they only have 2 cards in hand, so they most likely won't be able to do too much about it. So they drop the 7 ring here, and I still have lethal thanks to the Overrun damage. I tried to do some goofy temptation plays, but they don't even give me the chance, and they just surrender. So even against one of the more popular decks this patch, you're still easily able to come out with the victory. So that is a quick rundown on the deck. A couple of things that I've been thinking about experimenting with. I have been considering the use of the Impel power. There are a few times that I wish I would have had it. So, I've been thinking about that. I haven't gotten around to testing that out quite yet. I'm still very happy with Men's performance. A couple of quick tips here with the deck. Sometimes, you're not even going to be using the Forgelings or the Fires of Creations, and you're just not going to play any artifacts at all. Like in the first game, I never really played too many artifacts, so I never got too much use out of the Fire's path, which is not extremely true because Fires does give you a lot more health on the start of the game than the other paths do, so you automatically start off in a health advantage. So that's one of the benefits of using Fires outside of the Forgelings as well. So even if you don't use the Forgelings, you're still getting a lot of value out of the path. And it is okay to use Temptation as a more removal option. If they do get a quick God's Blood down on a smaller minion or even on a Thane, don't be afraid to just Temptation that to bounce it back to their hand, because that does get rid of the God's Blood buff, or like Honed Edge, or one of the more popular buffs that are on ladder right now. And then again, well, not again, but with the Forgelings, you typically aren't going to want to divination for the artifacts. Usually whenever that pops up, unless you see something to fix your colors or like an Olama Ring or one of the higher value artifacts, you're generally just going to skip that benefit completely. We're not really trying to draw our artifacts in this deck. The artifacts are just for the artifact value and the Forgelings to burn and the occasional body to throw onto the field. You're generally not going to want to get them from the Awaken. Of course, there are going to be exceptions, but with experience with the deck, you'll be able to figure out what those are pretty quickly. But as always, give the video a like if you like the deck. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and subscribe for more Mythgard content. And remember to always GG for Matt.